let me ask you a question. How in the world do you improve a retail bank, a school for little kids, and a massive oil and gas production company? I mean, these places seem like they're from completely different planets, right?
One is all about complex financial rules. Another is focused on the safety and growth of children. And the third deals with some incredibly high-risk, heavy-duty operations. You'd think they'd need completely separate playbooks for how to get better.
And yet here's the surprising part. For all three of them, the journey to real, lasting improvement, it kicks off in the exact same place, by deeply, and I mean deeply understanding their own unique context. And that's the big idea we're going to unpack today, how this one simple concept unlocks a smarter, more strategic way to think about quality.
So here's our roadmap. First, we're going to look at the old, broken way of doing things, what we'll call the bolt-on problem. Then, we'll shift our mindset, learn how to scan our environment, figure out who really matters, and draw our own strategic boundaries. And by the end, you'll see how this all comes together to turn your quality system into a genuine map for the future.
All right, so let's dive right in with the bolt-on problem. You see, to really get why the new way works, we have to understand why the old way of just copying and pasting a quality system was pretty much doomed from the start. The old approach was built on this really flawed idea that you could just, clone a quality system. Companies would literally buy a generic manual off the shelf, slap their logo on the front, and call it a day. But here's the thing. Those documents did nothing but freeze the present. They were static snapshots in time that actually fought against change, trying to make these living, breathing organizations act like predictable, boring machines. And this really shows you the night and day difference. We're moving from that old way, this rigid, document-heavy system that was just bolted on and hated change, to a totally new way of thinking. This new approach sees the QMS as an integrated, flexible, and strategic system that's built to embrace change. It's not a binder collecting dust on a shelf anymore, it's part of the company's DNA.
And that leads us perfectly to this new way of thinking. The best way to picture this shift is with a really simple but powerful analogy. It's about moving your focus from the rear-view mirror to the windshield. This quote just nails it. Think about it. You wouldn't drive your car by staring into the rear-view mirror, would you? Of course not. You look through the windshield to see the road ahead, to spot the opportunities, the obstacles. A modern quality system does the exact same thing for a business. It's a forward-looking tool you use to navigate, not just a logbook of past vendor benders.
So the most important thing to remember is this. Your quality management system can't be some separate thing you only dust off for an audit. It has to be woven into the actual fabric of your organization's strategy. It isn't an add-on, it's a core part of how the business actually works and finds its way forward.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do it? Well, that brings us to our third part, scanning your environment. This is where we get practical. It's the first active step, where we look both outside and inside our organization to really understand all the forces at play.
To look outside, we use this fantastic tool called pestle analysis. It's a structured way to scan the big picture. Because let's face it, no organization lives in a bubble. It forces you to think about all the political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental stuff that's constantly shaping the world you're operating in.
Let's make this real with an example. Imagine a fast food chain. A quick pestle analysis would highlight some pretty critical issues. Politically, you've got new government policies on obesity. Socially, customers are suddenly demanding healthier food. Technologically, there's this huge push for contactless payments. All of a sudden, you have a really clear picture of all the external pressures that could make or break your business.
Now, the perfect partner to looking outside is, you guessed it, looking inside. So, once you understand the big wide world with Pestle, use something called a SWOT analysis to take a good, hard look in the mirror. This helps you figure out your own internal strengths and weaknesses, which then tells you how you can actually tackle all those external opportunities and threats you just found.
For that same fast food chain, a SWOT might show that a strong brand image is a huge strength, but a terrible reputation for nutrition is a major weakness. And that weakness becomes a massive problem when you see the threat. Your competitors are already way ahead of you in offering healthier food. See? This isn't just a boring list. It's a strategic snapshot that shows you exactly where you're vulnerable and where you have a chance to win.
Okay, once you understand your environment inside and out, you need to figure out who in that environment you actually need to pay attention to. This is all about identifying your interested parties. Now, we usually think this is all about the customer, but it goes so much deeper.
Your interested parties are basically anyone and everyone who has a stake in whether you succeed or fail. We're talking employees, suppliers, investors, society, regulators. It also includes your competitors and, get this, even criminals whose bad intentions you have to protect yourself from. It's a complete 360-degree view of your entire ecosystem.
And look, it's not enough to just make a list of these groups. You have to really analyze what they want and how they can affect you. Customers bring in the money. Your employees give you the power to create value. Your suppliers provide the stuff you need to operate. And your competitors, they want to eat your lunch. Understanding these relationships is absolutely vital for making smart decisions.
Okay, so with this super clear picture of our environment and who matters, we can finally do something that used to be a total guessing game. We can logically define the scope of our quality system. This is what we call drawing your boundaries.
The scope is just that, the boundary of your QMS. Think of it like drawing a line on a map. It's this imaginary line that clearly separates what your system needs to actively control from the wider environment that it just needs to watch and react to. And that difference is huge. If you don't have it, you end up trying to control everything, which really means you control nothing at all.
So how do you draw that line? Well, the logic really boils down to influence and control. You include the things you can directly manage. You place the things you can't control, like new government rules or what your competitor does next, outside the line, in the environment, so you can keep an eye on them. By drawing that boundary cleanly, you turn what used to be a guess into a sharp, strategic decision.
And this all brings us to our final section and the big takeaway from all this. By starting with context, you completely transform your quality management system from a dusty old binder into a living, breathing map for the future.
There's this incredible quote from a guy named Alfred Korzybski that just perfectly captures it. A map is not the territory it represents. Your system, all the documents, all the processes, they are not the reality of your business. They are a map of that reality. And just like any good map, if it accurately shows you the territory, it becomes an unbelievably powerful tool to help you find your way.
So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. Take a look at your own organization's approach to quality. Is it a dusty old map of where you've been, totally focused on documenting the past? Or is it a dynamic, real-time GPS for the future, one that's actively helping you navigate the twists and turns of the road ahead? Because honestly, that choice makes all the difference in the world. Thanks for tuning in.